Women cry and kick, intentionally breaking the heel of the shoe, and then pretend to be unstable, sitting on the cargo box at the entrance of the museum, and then the security guard helped him repair the soles of his shoes. Let the wheezing dog squat on the cargo box and sprinkle foam. Secret mountain spring. Use this as a scent marker for famous paintings in the museum. Wait until the guard helps him fix his shoes. Women holding on and moaning. Cheung left the scene with such a swagger. Immediately after, the fragrant cargo box was carried into the carriage like this. When the truck takes the famous painting on the road, teammate Ajahn quickly put on his helmet, activate the ghost fire and chase after it, and then at the moment when the truck turns and slows down, firmly press the accelerator, utilizing the inertia of rapid driving. The car arrived at the bottom of the truck, and then climbed to an excellent position. Take out the safety buckle and buckle it onto the bottom of the truck, ensuring one's own safety. Finally, use a cutting machine to cut a 10-meter hole in the floor of the truck. And at this moment, Phage also came to the back of the truck. Let Red Bean be responsible for maintaining consistent driving and truck speeds. I jumped down the hood to the trunk of the truck. Take out the master key and poke the lock open. Then enter the truck. Start searching for a wooden box with a urine odor. After finding the wooden box, Phage quickly took out the electric drill from the toolbox. Remove the screws from the wooden box one by one. A world-renowned painting worth hundreds of millions of dollars immediately caught your eye. After, Phage used a drill to pry out the famous painting again, then roll the famous painting into a cylinder. Put it into the painting cylinder. Finally, hand over the famous painting from the drilled hole to it and hidden under the car. Then use an electric drill to remove the sunroof on the roof. Climb up to the top of the carriage through the skylight. Wear escape gear properly. Evacuate the crime scene with paragliding. And Ajahn leisurely lies down to the ground. Successful landing. Subsequently, the three of them found the top local billionaires with their famous paintings, sold this world-famous painting to a wealthy person for 200 million yuan, and the wealthy take out a picture album, ask them to help him steal this painting of herrings made. If we can get it, he will be willing to pay Phage and others billions of dollars in compensation. But Ajahn is worried that Phage may have an accident following him, so he decided to keep it from Phage. They went alone to the heavily guarded castle. However, he doesn't know yet. This operation is actually a shocking conspiracy. The man picked up the pistol, eating in front of the wall library. Just a moment. After the iron claws firmly grasped the wall, Ajahn climbed into the interior of the ancient castle along the rope. But I didn't expect to unexpectedly meet Phage. Originally Phage had already discovered the route of action drawn by Ajahn, worried about accidents in Ajahn, so he followed up. Then the two of them arrived at the secret chamber of the castle, preparing to steal world-famous paintings worth billions. Immediately after, Phage takes out a bundle of red ropes, connect a water pipe to the secret chamber passage, then shake the red rope up, down, left and right. Test if there are any hidden mechanisms inside. After confirming absolute safety here, Phage and his companions arrived in front of Shyman. Find the mechanism to open the stone gate. Soon, Ajahn discovered something strange. You know, the wealthy people living here are worth hundreds of billions. How could it be possible to use a 10-cent red wine bottle as a shelf decoration? Hence, Ajahn immediately concluded, the mechanism must be hidden inside. After a careful search by the two of them, sure enough, I found a bottle of red wine that looks different from ordinary people, and at this moment, the stone gate also immediately opened. The portrait of the maid of herring is hidden here. Meanwhile, Ajahn also discovered that the floor here is very strange, so he borrowed a hair from Phage's head, then carefully placed the hair strands close to the floor. Immediately after, the floor emitted an electric current sound. The hair in my hand also swayed to the left and right. Clear. This floor is a charging board. But naturally, this is a duo group that has been crisscrossing the southern island for many years. Subsequently, Ajahn is responsible for lying on the ground as a human ladder. Phage is responsible for widening the distance, trotting all the way, stepping on Ajahns shoulder, jump up and down, firmly grasp the candlestick inside the house, then hook the lamp holder with your feet, and stand upside down in mid-air, then let Ajahn use the back flip to stick it on himself. Last, Phage swings his body vigorously above, and Ajahn is pushing the wall to assist. Take it off at the moment of approaching a famous painting. Subsequently, Phage took the opportunity to release his hands, let Ajahn successfully land. Then Ajahn took out the rope and put it on the lamp holder. Let Phage successfully follow the rope to the ground. The last two people successfully stole this century-famous painting. Then the two quickly climbed out of the castle. But I didn't expect to attract the attention of the castle guards when I landed. Cry at them without saying a word. Eating is like a shuttle, and Ajahn was unfortunately shot as a result. Then Phage dragged it away. Then I drove to a safe place. Then Phage tore open Ajahns clothes. Take out a lock from the toolbox, then use a lighter to eliminate it, then use disinfected pliers to remove the bullets from the combat body, and then rub out all the lost tobacco, and then he pounced on Ajahns wound. A simple cardiac resuscitation procedure is now complete. Soon, Ajahn quickly regained his strength under the operation of Phage. Then the two of them prepared to set off to meet Red Bean. But I didn't expect that. Just then, the security guard of the castle caught up. Facing them is like a puff and a fight. Hurry up and roll to avoid the attack. Then taking advantage of the situation, he took out his pistol and launched a counterattack. And Phage got into the car and took out the pistol. Facing the approaching security warehouse, eating is just a shot. But the enemy's firepower is exceptionally fierce. After a while, they had no strength to fight back against each other. Under helplessness, Phage had to drive to attract the attention of the security guard. Let Ajahn retreat first with famous paintings, but I didn't expect Ajahn to have just run a little far. Just caught up by the security guard, eating under his ghostly fire in the rear wheel shed. Just a moment, Ajahn lost his balance, overturned to the ground. After falling to the ground, Ajahn quickly stood up, explode the oncoming vehicle, then quickly go pick up the famous painting that fell to the ground. But there's no choice, but the other party's firepower is fierce. Ajahn was beaten and there was no time to fight back. Phage looks at his good brother being bullied. I'll be on my way right away. With one kick of the gas pedal, he drove towards the opponent's speedboat. Then there was a popping sound. Phage and the enemy perished together. Ajahn saw the situation. Quickly evacuate the scene. Hurry to the airport to meet Hongdao. When Red Bean saw that only Ajahn came back, I immediately realized that Phage probably has hiccups already. However, just as they were feeling sad about it, Phage even came to them in a convertible. Then the group returned home. Prepare to tell the adoptive father the good news. But I didn't expect that. A group of people have just entered their adoptive father's home. The Ganoderma lucida maid was actually hanging on the wall of the living room. Ajahn immediately understood what was going on with all this. After the three of them decided privately, taking advantage of his adopted father's auction machine, he began to steal this world-famous painting again. Phage intentionally caused trouble when his adopted father auctioned off cultural relics. Break the Sankai bought by his adoptive father for 8 million yuan. To anger my foster father, have the security guard drive him out of the venue, and Ajahn sneaked into the back of the auction house while taking advantage of the chaos. Then calmly ignite a stone channel, moving around. Take advantage of no one around. Place the lighter into the overhead wall lamp, and press the cigarette flame onto the lighter's airbag. Finally, pretending to admire flowers, accidentally bumped into a staff member. Take the opportunity to remove his access card. When he sneaks into the vicinity of the vault, the lighter just detonated. The president of the auction house heard the sound of an explosion, immediately panicked, quickly asked the horse to carry all precious items into the vault, and Ajahn quietly followed up. Got it. The key to opening the vault is hidden on the president's body. When the auction house holds a ball tonight, Red Bean and Phage pretend to dance in the hall, and then while changing partners, hand the exchange of red beans to the president, and Red Bean pretended to be interested in the president. Stick with him, then take advantage of the moment you raise your hand, stealing the curator's keys. When we exchange lunch next time, hand it over to Ajahn again. After receiving the key, Ajahn quickly hand over the red beans to Phage. Let Phage and Red Bean perform their dance skills in the center of the dance floor. Attract everyone's attention. I am quietly hiding in a corner. Copy the shape of the key. After success, put the key in the long pants pocket again. It's late at night. Ajahn came to the auction house again with the key, then throw dozens of them onto the floor. A dozen doors came to patrol the security guard. When slipping, Ajahn took advantage of the situation and flew to the vicinity of the security room, and then throw out a miniature bomb. On a right whip leg, a left footlight solves the problem of a rat dropout. Subsequently, Ajahn comes to the electric motor room of the auction house, pull down all gates, turn off monitoring and alarm systems, then we'll go back to the auction house's vault, take out a roll of tape, stick the tape on the key of the combination lock, based on the distribution of grease adhered to the tape, successfully obtained password. Subsequently, Ajahn enter the password, open the electronic door. After arriving at the gate of the vault, stick the earpiece to the door. After a few turns, the password quickly got stuck in the correct position. Next, Ajahn inserted the prepared key into the lock hole, successfully opened the door, then quickly enter the vault, came to the world-famous painting. But I didn't expect him to just take down the famous painting. Triggered the mechanism hidden behind it. The door of the vault immediately closed. Ajahn, at first glance, things are not going well. Quickly call Phage to assist. After receiving the call for help, Phage, hurry up to the vault in a convertible, then stick the clay bomb on the door of the vault. Continue to rotate the switch, blow out a large hole in the anus, and Ajahn crawled out through the hole, pushing Phage away from this land of right and wrong. Then Phage called his adoptive father, let him redeem the famous painting with $1 billion in cash. Although my adoptive father's teeth itch with hatred, but in order to retrieve the famous painting, I can only agree to the conditions of Phage. After my adoptive father came to deal with Phage with a box of cash, I didn't expect my adopted father to just take over the famous painting. Just take out the pistol directly, shooting at Phage quiz like a shot. Immediately after, the foster father aimed his gun at Ajahn next to him. However, just as he was about to shoot, Phage suddenly rose into the air, just kicked this old coward in the air, and then a left whip leg, a right foot pedal, continuously running across his face. When Ajahn saw it on the side, just stay with the foster mother. So after the accident, Phage just suspect that all of this is an old ghost of an adopted father. So he deliberately pretended to be disabled, and found his adoptive father. But who wants this old wimp? Unexpectedly pushed Phage straight down the stairs. Phage thought to himself, since you're ruthless, don't blame me either. I didn't mean to. Then he teamed up with Ajahn to steal the famous painting. At the end of the film, Phage, Ajahn, and Hongdao went to Switzerland, living a happy and beautiful life, and that famous painting was also returned to the owner by Phage.